Welcome to another Railroads Online Showcase video, M.I.A. edition. I have to say I'm very sorry for the past few videos, which have been all uploaded without any commentary. I must have muted myself in the recording software at some point and didn't notice it, and that went on for I guess a few weeks then. Very sorry about that. I don't know how much use those videos are without any commentary on them. I could maybe see if I still have the original file and put something on top of that in post. But for now, I'm going to be using this video to catch you guys back up with the most important stuff that I showed and talked about during that video, or those series of videos. But first up, how did that even happen? Well, sometimes when I want to record a short video or something without my microphone picking up any audio, I don't just use the mute button on the microphone because that's not working too reliably anymore. I press the mute button in Streamlabs itself, and since I'm running the software in performance mode for recording this stuff, because otherwise that preview video has a negative impact on how smooth everything works. Well, sadly it also removes the visible stuff on the audio sliders that shows that they are picking up something, and that makes it a bit harder to recognize that maybe one of the inputs isn't getting anything. So that was an issue, but that's fixed for now. I just need to at some point, I think it's gonna happen hopefully in the next month or something, gonna really get into buying a new PC because this thing isn't really doing it anymore. But yeah, for now let's get into the stuff that actually happened. So first up, we have a new engine, our Cordy Smelterson. It's a class 48 and it's here at the smelter to deal with the cordwood. So this thing is meant to be just helping out in the yard over here. We have a separate section just for the cordwood over there in the distance. However, I'm also likely going to be using this to get cordwood from the logging camp over here. After all, there's a 1 to 1.5% incline from there all the way up here. This is actually at a slightly higher elevation than the other places. So with how long I want the cordwood train to be, it definitely needs a bit of help, and the class 48 is pretty efficient in terms of what it offers for tractive effort compared to how heavy it is. But yeah, the cordwood train itself started out with 15 cars. That was quite a few videos ago where I just gave a general overlook over everything that was happening in the background here, because some of the stuff I put in a lot of time, but there wasn't much to show yet because it was all kinda halfway done. Still, it's not too much different in some ways. But yeah, started off with 15 cars. Cordwood cars could be carried by or could be put by this engine. Worked out pretty well. Then I added, I think, another 9. So that gives us 24. That sounds about right. Suddenly this wasn't enough anymore. I also had the radius pull a few of them, so that was my 10 mile. Double heading that, I think it worked, but it also was kinda on the very edge of not working anymore. Then I decided to just add another 12, so we are now at 36. And I think I triple headed this thing up here, so class 48, the 10 mile, and my other new engine, which I showcased a few videos ago, the Ruby Basin. Ruby Basin, just a very amazing engine. We are going to take a look at it in a moment. I think it should be somewhere around here. It's a very nice one, really responsive on the throttle, so can accelerate quite a lot, can actually get up to quite the high top speed. It's just a really good engine overall. I think it has like 13,000 tractive effort. So this is a pretty great one for me, calling it Mountaineer because this is the one that's going to partially replace the 10 mile, and this is going to be the one I'll be using for anything that's not done in the valley, something that really has to go over a bit of an incline. So this thing is pretty good at carrying stuff up the hill and things like that. So that's what I'm gonna be mainly using this for. Currently having some iron loaded here. Just gonna have to carry it all the way to the freight depot. I'm always struggling with that one word for some reason. But yeah, anyways, we have a second new engine. We have 36 cars for cordwood, which is kind of overkill. Also having what's it called again? A caboose at the end of it, just so I can verify without having to count all the cars again that the train is actually still in one piece. Of course, right now it's not, because I'm dealing with getting the stuff delivered to the actual smelter. So the way this is all going to work is that basically this train is just going to stay at the smelter for the most part. Just so I have a lot of cordwood to refuel the smelter with, but of course I can't just deliver it all in one go, and it doesn't even have a lot of capacity for cordwood. So I'm just gonna keep them here as kind of an outside industry capacity addition, and whenever I need a bit more cordwood, I'm just gonna use the class 48 to put it all in. It's pretty much the same as with my old version on the other save, just that this is set up a bit more efficiently with just the runaround track for this thing starting as soon as possible. So not too much distance to travel here. It's very efficient. I have another switch in between here, and this is actually for the raw iron delivery. So it's kind of stupid right now to explain everything, because there was another version on another muted video where basically everything was still coming in from this direction with a huge area for train resupplies over here. And that's all gone, and everything has been moved around the other direction. So let me pull up the map real quick. Yes, I have a map now. So this is the old layout, where in the center you see that huge amount of spaghetti. That's the supply area. That's the one I'm looking at right now. And from that you could just go into this direction and go to the different sides of the industry to either deliver some stuff or pick up new things over here. But that's all been dealt with, because the one downside here is that it left me with just a very short track for unloading cargo, and just having a runaround track that wasn't really sufficient here. On the other end, we have a freeway junction, so that's going further to the right, and that's a line that goes all the way around the area and up to the refinery down south on the ledge. So there wasn't much of a way to go further into this direction, so I decided to make another version, which we are looking at right now, and that's the one where I'm gonna quickly give you an update to the map. This is where I decided to just go around the entire industry first and then come back around from the backside to go into it. So coming in from this direction, from the entry point to the area, you have an option to just bypass the whole supply area or go into it on either one of these sides. So you can either go to the supply side and deliver some coal for the coaling tower, some firewood for the firewood depot, or I think that's the only thing that you can deliver. Or you go onto this side where you can actually get some coal, if I ever deliver some here, get some sand, firewood, water, or turn the entire engine around. So this is all possible in this new little supply area. I think I could have maybe invested a bit more space into this, because this is kind of really squished together in a way that was a bit awkward to assemble, but it works now, so happy enough about that. So going down further into this area, you have the choice between going to one of two runaround sets. First is go to the right here, because that's the one that I have had for a longer time. This is the one for the cordwood. It just wraps around on the outside of the other two tracks and reconnects somewhere shortly before the smelter, which you've just seen. The other one on the inside is for either just dropping off some iron ore or collecting raw iron ore rails. And rails are of course worth a lot more per car. I think raw iron is 75 per car, and for the rails it's 250. It's just 25 per item, only that you can have free raw iron on here or 10 rails, and just to make some money, of course, I'm gonna go with rails, which are otherwise rather useless. You just need to deliver a few of them to the coal mine eventually, and then you're all set for a while. But yeah, following the inside tracks towards the smelter, you come towards the junction. Gonna happen over here in a moment. It's a really long run around track. It was a bit of overkill, but this should just mean that I'm not gonna need to rebuild this anytime soon. So yeah, coming into a set of switches. First up, of course, the tracks reconnecting to each other. And then we have a few switches that, let you go towards the collection area for the output stuff from the smelter, or go towards just this shed over here, which is where I will be parking the engines that help getting the cordwood over here. I think I'm gonna need a tween here at some point. That's just gonna be the be-all end-all for this. And yeah, the third one is just for the iron ore drop-off. So if you want to do the cordwood stuff, the two switches here need to be aligned like this. And if you put everything to the outside, then you can just drive through from this track and drive to the outside to get to the iron ore platform. And I made sure that there is enough space over here that I can still have the class 48 with 3 cars behind it without it getting in the way of anything that needs to pass through here. Also, funnily enough, looking at how long the runoff is after the platform and also after the other platform, I could have just made this a giant loop, but I decided against it. It would be a bit more practical, but I think it's just a general thing that you don't want to have balloon loops around the industry. Although in this case it's really kinda asking for it. Just needs a few more meters of rail and 2 switches, and then it should all be good, but again, I decided against it. Just to make the running of the industry a bit more interesting. But yeah, so much about the maps right now. I think that's the major stuff that I needed to talk about regarding this all happening here. So we have 2 new engines, we have a very long cordwood train, and a multiple times reworked setup for the smelter, and I think this one is gonna stick around for a bit longer. Also, fun fact about this bridge. Used to be the case that in the old version, the 2 runaround tracks would actually connect to this switch over here. But in order to run any iron delivery through here and get on the outside, I tried to do this with just a crossover, but the angles didn't work out for me. It would have been really awkward cutting out here and then coming back in order to reach a platform. I decided to just go with 2 switches, which worked out pretty well for the track that needs to deliver the iron. However, the cordwood runaround used to be connected on this part, and I need to rework this so it's a bit more curvy. Otherwise, this would have been a rather straightforward thing, but due to me needing the switch over there to make this work, it needed to be done a bit differently. Still works pretty well, just looks a bit weird. But on this side, the tracks, until they would have reconnected together, they are still the same layout as before, so much about that. So let's get into another really important topic for me, one that I sadly also didn't record because there wasn't anything to show. It's just about how I'm going to deal with the Unreal Engine 5 update. Basically, with my current setup, with my current PC, I cannot deal with it. It doesn't run well. I mean, it kind of does run, but half the textures don't load in properly. It looks like some low poly game, and it's something that I could potentially even play on because at least the frame rate is alright, but it wouldn't be anything that I could showcase. So I'm gonna stay away from that until I have a better PC that can then hopefully deal with it. I hope they don't at this point just update the regular version to it and just keep it on the beta branch, because I think overall it's not the best thing for the game. The visual upgrades are nice, weather options are nice, and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's not worth it leaving that many people behind. Not everybody can play with Unreal 5 because that needs like 8 gigabyte of video RAM, and not everybody has that. It's it's the standard for anything that's built new. Any new cards that come out apparently have 8 gigabytes at least. But people that are running a setup that is a few years old and still viable in a lot of other ways just can't do that. And for if it's just for an optical update, I don't think it's worth it just leaving so many people behind. It's kind of a shit thing to do for how many people bought this game already. However, I think there's one argument to be made for the Unreal 5 update, and that has to do with the top speed of the engines. Let's be real. Having to just tow the cars around at a very low speed and everything derailing if you go a little bit too quick, not even through a corner or something, that's not good. That's not something that's really viable for a finished product at any point. And from what I heard, it is now possible to run the trains a lot faster. This kind of quote unquote speed limit, what some people like to call it, has been removed. And I get that it could be a programming challenge and an engine challenge, because basically these cars and the engine, everything that's connecting directly to each other, they are kind of colliding all the time, and that's something that's gonna be very hard for an engine to handle. And maybe Unreal 5 is the only one that's able to actually do this in a decent way. And yeah, if this is required in order to run the trains properly without all the weird physics stuff going on, I think at that point, yeah, you kind of have to do the upgrade, because otherwise the game is never gonna work properly. But yeah, if this could be done on Unreal Engine 4 as well, then I think it would be better to just stick with this for the time being. Could be if there's ever a successor to this game, then you could go on to Unreal Engine 5, but yeah. Unless, again, this is necessary in order to make the physics work, I would just stick to a 4 and not piss off a lot of people that paid for the game and cannot use it. I am in the fortunate position to be planning on doing an upgrade anyway, so for me, at the very worst, this would mean that I cannot play it for a bit of time, but not everybody just has the money to do this kind of stuff, and I don't know if for every system it would even be just the GPU, quote unquote, which is already the most expensive thing in the PC for many people. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on this. So besides this, I'm gonna only showcase another thing that I did, and then we are going to wrap this up. There have been a few other things like updating the sawmill, showing what's going on at the Ironverse. But for the sake of this video, since it's already a bit longer, and well, this is kind of a related topic anyways, I'm gonna quickly talk about what I changed over here and what I'm going to plan doing forward. So this is actually the first logging camp. It has a huge train yard over here. I think it's like 7 lanes or something. I don't remember. Oh, there's actually still a few cars over here. So both will have to go at some point. But yeah, this is a very long and flat train yard, which is how I like my train yards. However, at the end of it, it connects to the line that goes up towards the storm, no, the smelter, I mean. So this is kind of the other end of where we would get the cordwood from. And it's regarding the cordwood. It's this, I know I'm a bit all over the place, sorry. The line going from here to the smelter starts up with a 1.5% incline, and then after a while evens out to 1%. And what I'm going to do, or at least what I'm going to attempt, is try to make it so that the 1.5% is even out to just 1% as well. So the way this is going to work is that this is going into just a dead end over there. I'm going to remove the portion that connects to the incline track and instead just have a bit of a runoff, maybe use the turntable at the very end so you can turn an engine around or something like that. But yeah, this is not gonna be a drive-through situation anymore. I already added the bypass here, but it's currently not that useful. I don't think there's much of a reason to go from anywhere else on the map directly past the logging camp here and towards the smelter. Although eventually this will also lead to the refinery. But anyways, what I'm going to do here is actually reworking this in order to get rid of that 1.5% and just try to get down to ground level over here using this track as well. So it's gonna be a bit higher and then slowly over time going down to ground level. I think for the most part this is actually 0.5% or something, so this should be possible. This is just that somewhere on the incline there is a switch and then you can go onto this track or the 1.5% further down there towards the train yard. And another thing that I'm going to need to do, and that will likely be the hardest part here, I will need to turn this area into a freeway junction so that you can come from either direction on this main line and then go either, well, directly through and past the logging camp here, or end up on this track where you can go into, well, both the logging camp and the train yard over here. I don't think there's going to be a track that leads directly into the train yard, but I mean, other way around. This track will always lead directly into the train yard, but there won't be one that leads directly into the logging camp. You would need to go into the train yard and then come back out backwards in order to go towards the logging camp. And eventually also the oil field. This is gonna be a bit of a weird station, I think, but gonna be interesting to maneuver it, I guess. So yeah, I need to somehow find a way to make a turnaround here to connect to the other end. And then it's just gonna be freeway junction and a steady 1% incline up to the smelter from here. Should be good and will hopefully get rid of the need to triple head this cordwood train. I would actually like to make it even a bit longer, I think. There has been some consideration, in terms of how many cars I can just load at a time. Would be nice to have 48 cars because that would leave me with a few nice options here. Like I could make 8 cars at a time come in and do that 6 times, or have 6 cars come in at a time, which I think it's a bit on the shorter side for what I can reasonably load up here. And just have that happen, 8 times. But yeah, ideally I want to have all the cordwood cars come here in just sections of 8. And that means that I need something that can be divided by 8 as well as 3 for what's gonna go down at the smelter. And therefore 48 would be the next best thing, but I don't know if it's gonna be Mr. Stars unless I want to double-head it with 2 twin CZ eventually. So Last thing, I swear, let's quickly go through some of the stuff that I wanted to do here anyways with in terms of cars. First up, the skeleton cars I kinda got rid of so far. They are still here at the main train yard, which I eventually need to expand on. I don't know what to do with them. Please let me know if you have any suggestions. But yeah, I'm not using them anymore. They are just too short and that makes them difficult to line up two of them at a time at the logging camp. What's it called again? The cranes. So that was a huge pain. I replaced them all with these regular ones, which we've already seen. So this should all be good. And in terms of engines, I'm gonna be getting likely a few more porters. I guess the porter with storage on its back would be a nice one. I definitely prefer having a bit more firewood than just the regular old version. But those would be Alpine engines. 10 mile, I already got one. It's a nice one, but overall not the strongest and yeah, more suited for stuff that doesn't have much of an incline on the track. So more for the valley. Class 48, another one that I like is a Alpine engine or train or yard engine, I mean. Montezuma, forget about it. Not gonna be using that one. Eureka, not one that I care too much about either. It's just a rather weak engine. Glenbrook is one, however, that I definitely want to get another engine of. I have one on my other save, but this I just like this engine. It's also gonna be one of the few that actually is using cord or just firewood in general. And I just like the layout of the engine room here. It's just nice having it at the front, not needing to squeeze to the side of it and stuff like that. So I really enjoy this engine and therefore I want to get another one. Also just in case that at some point the devs actually remove the ludicrous amount of coal that you can have in the tender for the coal-powered engine. Climax is one I don't care too much about because of the issue that it has regarding it just slipping on the track at full power. I want to use one of the gear engines for my coal supply track, or at least I want to actually use multiple ones of them, but I need some that I can just set and forget until I need to break them in again. So it's likely gonna be a bunch of Heislers. Really like this one, not the fastest, but definitely has a lot of power. I'm considering to either get a set of two, so one at the front, one at the end of the train, or actually two sets of two, which would mean having two of them back to back, and then at the end of the train another two. Could be quite interesting. Ruby Basin I already bought. It's quite a nice one, especially for delivering to the iron mine or anywhere else up the mountain. Shay will likely be another helper engine, but that's gonna depend on the situation. I'm going to try and find somewhere where it's not gonna need to travel over long distances, and for that it would be nice, but well, having to go over a full runaround track, it's not gonna be too much fun with this one. You are faster running after all. Moscow, don't care too much about that. The Cook 260 coal is something that I actually consider for the corporate deliveries. Consider that, yeah, cancelled. Not gonna be using this for that. I kind of want to use it at some point for something, but right now it doesn't have any priority, and it's definitely not good enough for the corporate transports. This one I don't care too much about anymore. Class 70, I likely get a few of these here and there just for general stuff. They're still decent engine, although both in terms of top speed and attractive effort, they are outdone by the Twin C. So this is gonna be the go-to engine at least for a while. I kinda wish it would be a bit more balanced with the ones at the top. well, one of them would maybe have a bit more tractive effort, the other one would have a better top speed or something else going for it. Currently this one is just the goat all around, unless you want to go for the climax, which again can't even use its full tractive effort and is slow as hell. So yeah, this is the best one, gonna be using quite a lot of them I guess, and yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me for this video. Again, sorry about the past few ones. I hope this cleared up a few things. Let me know if you want me to do like a voiceover over the original videos or something. I think they might be a bit more concise in a few topics, but overall, yeah, the main part is what I covered here in this one as well, so no need to go back to those. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and till next time, bye bye.